Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, whatever time you check this video. I want to discuss the verdict of Derek Chauvin, his guilty verdict, and how society is adjusting to this. But before I do, let me just say or urge each and every one of you to go and subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you're kept up to date with my social democratic commentaries. Anyway, so let me get started. We all know about that day last year, May 25th, 2020, when George Floyd was arrested and Officer Derek Chauvin uh, basically murdered him. Knees on chest, knees on neck, and he was begging for air. He wasn't resisting arrest, and there were people with their cell phones videotaping this sadistic asshole killing an individual, a human being. And he was, it was just another example of police brutality taking place, very commonplace. And you would think that with cameras around, I mean, not just body cameras of police officers, but spectators, just people around. When they see something, they pull out their phones and they start taping it. And you would think that that would be a deterrent from police officers. I'm talking about those bad apples that like to abuse people, if not just abuse, but sometimes worse, ends up killing them. You would think some of these people would calm down and you would think that people would be extra careful what they do in their jobs. But apparently, there is a mindset that takes place in law enforcement. Not all police officers, not everyone, but enough that it is a problem in this country. And, it's sad because another damn culture war takes place too on top of that. Now, with Black Lives Matter and with the protests, that's justifiable, 100% justified, because African Americans are signaled out seemingly by law enforcement in ways that other ethnic groups are not, or not as much. And I'm not one who wants to act like an SJW, calling every white person that does something just a little off-putting politically for me, saying, "You're a racist. You're a racist." I don't do that. But when I do see actual racism taking place, it needs to be called out. It needs to be condemned, and it just not ever need to happen again. And this very much includes what happened in law enforcement. I have said that our criminal justice system is very, very racist. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's one of the reasons that I oppose capital punishment. So, I mean, I'm not. Don't make me out to like I'm some good person for saying this. It just doesn't make sense to have capital punishment at all. And I have noticed that capital punishment tends to discriminate heavily against African Americans, and it discriminates against people of other ethnic backgrounds. And regardless of whether you're black or brown or even white, if you have no money, regardless, you're more likely to be executed. But I'm going off on this tangent on the death penalty because that's a major issue of mine. I am passionately opposed to capital punishment. Even if capital punishment was racially neutral and somebody and it was guaranteed that whoever's going to be executed were 100% guilty, regardless of the circumstances that they were guilty, I would still be opposed to capital punishment. But anyway, I'm sorry. I tend to reflect on on other areas, even as related to what I'm talking about. I am glad that Derek Chauvin was declared guilty on all three counts of murder because I want him as an example to be a deterrent against any other person in law enforcement that has any bright ideas about being a sadistic monster against citizens of this country. Now, was George Floyd an angel? Obviously not. But this was inappropriate, what he did last year. What he did last year was inappropriate. And yeah, I am not going to go hold my breath about hoping that this would be a deterrent. But justice was somewhat served right now. And still makes me kind of angry about all the other times throughout the years where certain elements in law enforcement have gotten away with this sort of thing. And so, good for the justice system this time when it came to the conviction against Derek Chauvin. Um, but sad thing is, people got very political about it on all sides, and that kind of makes me um, angry too. Now, from the right wing, most people on the right wing, and I don't mean your next door neighbor Republican or anything like that. I'm talking about people in media. I can imagine what Rush Limbaugh be saying if he was still alive with this verdict. But well, you don't have to worry because there's Steven Crowder uh, doing his cynical partisan game when it comes to this sort of thing. Let me give you a quote from Twitter, Steven Crowder. Of course, there was going to be a pivot. Expect more police to quit in the coming weeks. No ounce of concern for an individual that was obviously signaled out because of his race. Got to sit there and go with his don't ever question law enforcement attitude, Steven Crowder. To the point that he cynically created a stupid ass video trying to recreate this the death of George Floyd by pretending to be George Floyd and trying to use a lot of mumbo jumbo rhetoric claiming, oh, well, you see, George Floyd obviously couldn't have been killed from this and that. Steven Crowder, why don't you just be a decent person for once in your life and realize what this SOB did to George Floyd? You have to go make a partisan statement out of this. Who am I kidding? This is freaking Steven Crowder or Tommy Lauren, the blow up doll that talks a lot on Fox. Oh, all self righteous and huffy puffy up there. She what did she have to say? Is the Foot Locker safe tonight? Should it be right? Justice, right? No need to steal in the name of George Floyd anymore, right? That's I mean Steven Crowder's comment may or may not have been racist, but Tommy Lawrence certainly was very loud with her dog whistle and does not be a part to prove that I am not a partisan hack. I have some criticisms for Nancy Pelosi, her stupid ass comments. Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice. I mean, really? Is she was she drunk when she wrote this speech? How's that not insulting? And I'm guilty of politicizing this by making a commentary about it, other than focusing on the fact that Derek Chauvin is guilty. And I make it clear, I am glad he's guilty, and I hope that he will be a deterrent against other people in law enforcement that have any bright ideas about killing an individual again for no good reason, other than they're poor or whatever demographics they may be. Or I mean, it doesn't even have to be. It doesn't have to be a black and brown person. It still could be a white person that's poor, and they will do it to that person too. Oh, the racism is there, but it's also classism involved. Regardless, regardless, before everybody's too celebratory, celebrate the fact that justice was served, but a human being dying needlessly with no justification, that person can't ever be brought back to life. If you like what you heard, press like and comment. If you disagree, well, comment anyway. We'll have a conversation. Feel free to share the content on this channel. As a First Amendment absolutist, it's my duty to inform you. If you have a platform, please utilize it because we're the muckrakers of our time. And also, feel free to subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell. And until next time, I am American Social Democracy. Peace. Class struggle yesterday, class struggle today, class struggle tomorrow, and class struggle until we have full economic and social justice for all.